You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV is here at a Capri Public Forum. Money Talks. What does the new budget really tell you? I'm your host, Amita Prasadweb. Stay tuned.
Please join me in welcome to the stage Mr. Tench as he shares a couple words with you from the European Union. Mr. Tench.
I speak to you today as Jamaica and its people grapple with several pressing issues that make up the current national conversation. This is an extremely important and proper functioning of any viable democracy, where a population can voice their praise, concern, or even anger towards the news of the day. And the current topic of discussion, as it should be at the moment, is the budget, as put forward by the government. This affects every one of us. The budget is of particular importance to the European Union as a result of the special relationship we currently have with Jamaica. The bulk of our support to Jamaica is through what we call budget support. It entails direct financial transfers to the national treasury, meant for specific purposes and sectors, whether it be for agriculture, justice, or education. This support is conditional to agreed economic targets. What that means is we sit down together and we agree the targets together. It is not us, the EU, saying you must do this, you must do that. This is a collaborative process. We have all seen, one way or another, that when the public gives its views, especially through the right channels, this brings change and further dialogues are made possible. The collective power of a population should not be taken lightly. And by increasing capacity in all respects, in all aspects, the political process can benefit every one of us. With that, I wish everyone here a successful event and an enlightening discussion. We are very proud of the work that Capri is doing, and we support their commitment to a better informed, more active citizenry that works alongside an accountable, transparent government.
All right. Dr. King, at this time, please join in welcoming Dr. King.
Thank you very much, Shani. So, there's been a lot of talk about the budget. Every time you turn on the radio, there are people discussing the budget. You know, a lot of it takes place in Parliament. They've been talking about the budget in Parliament for the last 2 weeks. So, it's not because there hasn't been enough talk about the budget. So, why are we here? Because most of that conversation is not done in a way that most people can understand. We want to look at the budget and decide, is it a fiscally responsible budget? What does that mean? Does the budget look after us next year and the year after that and the year after that? Or does it just satisfy our needs for this year? We also want to say what it reveals about the government's priorities. You know, governments will stand up and every once in a while they will say one thing and end up doing another. If you want to know what their real priorities are, look at where the money is going. That's what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to start off with what really is the most important thing that you need to know about this budget. We're going to start off with the big picture. The biggest problem that the country faces is the fact that the government owes a lot of money. It owes a mountain of money. Up to 5 years ago, the amount of money that the government owed was equal to 1.5 times the value of everything produced in the country over the course of a year. So it's like everybody goes to work, everybody in the country goes to work, and they don't take any salary. the salary just pays off the debt every single week, every single month. And everybody would have to work for free for 1.5 years to pay off the debt. That is what 147% of GDP means. Well, the only way to get this debt down is for the government to stop spending more than it is earning. And what Jamaica's governments did for years and years and years up until 5 years ago is they constantly spent more money than they were earning. That comparison of spending versus earning is the fiscal balance. So the first question we asked about this budget is, what is the fiscal balance? Are they spending a lot more than they are bringing in? And the answer is no. It's very close to being zero. A little bit negative. That's why we say the budget is fiscally responsible. It contributes to the debt going down. So that's the most important thing we want to know, and the first takeaway, our first conclusion. Now we're going to go into the revenue side of the budget. The purpose of any tax system is to tax you. They may put the tax on, on parties, or they may put the tax on companies, or they may put the tax on imports, or take it out of your pay. But ultimately, the purpose of taxation is to tax you. The only question is, at what point are they going to tax you? And there are essentially two options. They can tax you once you earn the money, and those are called direct taxes. Since the purpose of taxes is all you, then if they take it out of your pocket before it reaches, then you are being taxed directly. That's what income tax is. The other possibility is they can wait until you spend it and then tax you indirectly through the things you spend on. So by taxing the clothes and by taxing the food and by taxing the cell phone calls, they are really taxing you, but indirectly by putting the tax on those things that you consume. Those are the only two possibilities. The direct taxes are just taxes on income, either individual income or companies' income, profits. The indirect taxes are of two kinds. Taxes on production and consumption, that's GCT. SCT, which is special consumption tax, that's the one they put on gas. And import duties. There's actually another category which brings in a small amount of revenue, and that is, fees and charges. If you use a government service, sometimes you have to pay for it. Here's what's happening. These are the shares that have come from each of these categories over the last 6 years. And it's clear by looking at the history of the last 6 years that there's been a shift away from relying on direct taxes, income taxes, and moving away from that more and more to indirect taxes. And the new budget continues that trend. Whereas 26% of total revenue came from direct taxes last year, in the financial year just being completed now, in the new budget, that share is going to shrink from 26% to 23%. Now that you know the disadvantage of each way of doing it, you can decide for yourself whether this is a good thing or not. Capri is not here to tell you what is good and bad. Capri is here to give you the information so you can decide that for yourself. There are four broad purposes, reasons why governments spend money. The first one is general administration. This is like the country has to have foreign ministries, so we need we need embassies and so on, and we need to pay for that. And we need to pay for accounting systems. But most importantly, in this category of general administration is the interest on that debt I told you about. And most of the spending in this category is interest. Government is responsible for our safety and security. So the second major reason why government spend money is on that. This is the police force, the army, the court system, and the jails. Thirdly, you have social services. Social services are the education system, the health system, including the public hospitals and the clinics, and the PATH program, which gives direct transfers of cash to many households. And finally, they spend money on supporting business and economic activity. They spend money in ways that help us to go about our daily lives of earning and making money, like laying down roads and fixing the potholes. So now that we see the four main purposes for which government spends money, let us look at what has been happening. This is a very interesting picture because it says that the country started spending more on social services from 2 years ago, and that there has been a steady increase in spending on schools and hospitals and so on. The new budget for 2017-2018 largely maintains that increased spending on social services with a very slight increase. Social services really affect the lives of a lot of people, so we think it's important that the increases of the last few years have been maintained. So we think that is our third major takeaway from the new budget. But the big increase is spending to support economic growth. And we see that over the last 2 years, there has been a massive increase in spending devoted to the economy. In the new budget, nearly all of that is road building and road repair under what is called the Major Infrastructure Investment Program, we are told. So that is what's happening on the expenditure side of the budget. So we get the overall picture. We've looked at the two sides. But what people really want to know, and what I want to know, is how is this going to affect me? How is it going to affect my life directly over the next 12 months? In order to do that, let us just review what have been the major changes in terms of taxes and income, so we can see what it is we're looking at. They have increased the tax on alcohol by $110 per liter of pure alcohol. The details not so important. Okay? Liquor is going to cost you more. Property tax is going up. This is a little funny because property taxes had not changed for like 10 years. Because while everybody's paying more and more for everything, they didn't update the value of properties for 10 years. And now when they update the value of properties, everybody has to pay more taxes, by quite a significant amount. So property tax is going up. Vehicle licensing fees have gone up. And they have added $5.46 to the tax on petrol, on gasoline, as well as all other fuels. So that's going to affect the cost of transportation. And then there is the big income tax promise, that income tax was only taken out on the part of your income that was more than $1 million a year. And then anything you earn more than that, income tax was taken out. Well, they're raising that now to $1.5 million. So if you earn anything less than $1.5 million, you don't pay income tax, but any income you have above that, income tax is taken out. They have increased and announced in payments through the PATH program. That's going to affect direct cash payments if you're on the PATH program and some other payments related to it. like the school feeding program. How does this affect you? Well, it turns out that it really depends on who you are. It depends on your particular income level and your lifestyle and your consumption patterns. And that's the fourth point we want to make. You sort of have to think about what the taxes are, and you can decide whether you end up better off or you end up worse off. We need to have more confidence that the increased burden on those is going to be mitigated, provided for, compensated for in some way, so that nobody really ends up being worse off. And that's our final concern. So that is what we think are the major conclusions, takeaways from the new budget that has been announced.